So hello, my name is Naomi DeWinter. I serve as the president of Muscatine Community College, and we have a special interview for you today. I'm joined by Melanie Alexander, the director of Muscatine's Art Center, and Chuck Swanson, the executive director of the Hancher Auditorium. We're talking about an exciting event coming to Muscatine on May 20th to honor the legacy of Dick and Mary Jo Stanley, and also about their impact on the arts in general and on Muscatine specifically. So I'd first like to talk about the events that are planned on May 20th. Let's start with the thing that's most imminent here, and then we'll broaden out our conversation a little bit to the impact of Dick and Mary Jo. So tell us what's going on in Muscatine on May 20th. Melanie?
Well, I'll start with the afternoon activities. So we're kicking off at 1 o'clock. We have activities going on in two different locations, one at Stanley Consultants in downtown Muscatine and the other at the Muscatine Art Center. Our theme for the day is Follow the Music. And so each venue is going to have live music. So the first concert of the day is the Muscatine Jazz Ensemble, which is an award-winning high school jazz group. So they begin at 1 o'clock at Stanley Consultants. We also have some presentations going on at Stanley Consultants. It's intended to be a very family-friendly type of event all afternoon and through the concert in the late afternoon. Stanley will also have, they have their exhibits that are on permanent view, but visitors don't often have the chance to look at those, so you can wander in and check that out. The recently renamed University of Iowa Stanley Museum of Art is bringing their African art education collection. So kids and, well, adults too can actually hold, there'll be masks and other types of African art that available. The African American Museum of Iowa is going to have three components of their traveling exhibits on view. The University College of Engineering is going to be present, and then the Community Foundation at Greater Muscatine is going to talk about the Health Support Foundation, and the MCSA is going, Muscatine Center for Social Action is going to have a brief presentation, and then they're also open for tours. So they're just one block up from Stanley Consultants. And then at the Art Center, we've got a lineup of music. Sally Potter's going to play the organ at 1:30. The Muscatine Children's Choir is performing at 2. Violinist Heather Straley with the Symphony Orchestra is going to perform, and also Dick Sessler is going to be on the piano later. We have a reception for the middle school and high school student art exhibition and some hands-on activities in the studio for kids and families, and then the Stanley Foundation is going to have a display. And that's just the afternoon activities, and it sounds like a lot, but that was the Stanleys. How much they were involved
Melanie,
in.
I was just going to say that just as you talked, I just thought Dick and Mary Jo would be smiling so brightly. Just all of that. They wouldn't want to miss any of this.
Yeah.
You know,
So
that was just their spirit.
Yes. I've been in Muscatine almost 3 years, and I had opportunity to get to know Dick more than Mary Jo at weekly Rotary meetings, but we also interacted on the Muscatine Health Support Foundation. You mentioned the college here was a recipient several times of some grant funds. I saw them frequently at the Symphony. I mean, after hours, business after hours, you know, he was really everywhere I was. So I started just to follow him. So I know there's something happening at 4 o'clock at Weed Park.
You bet.
So tell us about that, but tell us how Weed Park was selected, because that has some meaning in this story as well.
That's such a great question, Naomi. Back in 2007, before you were here, Hancher and the University of Iowa, along with help from Dick and Mary Jo and the city of Muscatine, and so many people came together to make this happen, is that we had the Joffrey Ballet perform in Weed Park. It was part of a 5-city tour and this was a celebration of Hancher's 35th anniversary, and was a gift to the state. So it started in Des Moines, then we went to Council Bluffs, Muscatine, Cedar Rapids, and we ended up in Iowa City. And there were a total of 35,000 people that saw this across Iowa. And as Dick used to say, I always remember this, he said, "River to river, Chuck." He was so proud. But in Muscatine at Weed Park, and this was, I can't remember the day, I think it was June 30th of 2007, we had 7,000 people in Weed Park. And it was an epic. It was unbelievable. And the weather was gorgeous. I was able, and so lucky, that my wife and I got to sit next to Dick and Mary Jo, and the smiles on their faces. They were just so proud of this. And why they were so happy is just watching everybody and knowing that this was bringing so much joy to other people. And that was Dick and Mary Jo. I mean, they sat back, they were there early, just watching the people come and watching the people set up their chairs. And then when the ballet started, I noticed they had tears in their eyes. I mean, they were just so joyous. And so when we started to talk about this, we thought for sure Weed Park needed to be the location. But then, we decided Follow the Music was a great theme, so we had to think what music was going to culminate this special day. And so in 2013, Hancher and the University of Iowa also brought Preservation Hall Jazz Band here to Muscatine. We were at the Riverfront Park, and actually there had been flooding again that year. We were in front of the red building there in the park, and water was all the way up to the building. We didn't have quite 7,000 people there that night, but we had probably 600-700 people. And once again, my wife and I, Kim and I, were so lucky enough to be able to sit with Dick and Mary Jo. We had our Hancher chairs that we had accumulated from the Joffrey tour, and we sat with them, and again, the joy in their faces. And Preservation Hall Jazz Band, the music is so joyous, the music is so celebratory, and that's exactly what we want that day. We want to celebrate the lives of Dick and Mary Jo. In my lifetime, I don't think I've ever met two people like them, and I don't think I ever will again, and I feel so fortunate. And I continue to hear stories about the way they've touched lives. The meals that I used to share with Dick and Mary Jo, and the stories that they used to share, it was always about others. It was always about ways that they could make a difference in the world. So I am hoping for great weather again that day. I'm hoping.
Do have a rain plan.
We do in the Muscatine High School Auditorium, which is great also. I love that.
Yeah.
But I think Dick and Mary Jo will shine down on us that day, and I think it's going to be a gorgeous day. I really do. I'm very optimistic.
Yes. So you are inviting the audience then to all of these events. Is there any cost to the viewers?
Everything is free, and I did want to add too that people need to make sure that they bring their own chair or their own blanket, but there's no cost at all. We really want this there again to be a day to have everybody really remember and think of their own story of Dick and Mary Jo. And some people have so many stories, they're just going to have to focus on, I guess, maybe their favorite story. But everything in the afternoon is free. There will be refreshments in the afternoon, and the concert with Preservation Hall coming all the way from New Orleans. That's free, So it's a party. It's a celebration, and that's really what we want.
Yeah. And we're trying to make it easy for people to get around. So we're very thankful to the college for providing your parking lot where people can park here and catch Muscabus to get into Weed Park. So, kind of traffic through Weed Park is going to be a little limited, and, so we appreciate that and trying to make it easy and enjoyable. So.
Yes.
And I want to say too, Naomi, that obviously nothing is free. There are a lot of sponsors, organizations that have helped and individuals that have helped to make this possible. So I just want to read so I don't forget anybody.
Yes.
Thanks to Stanley Consultants, to the H&I Corporation, to Hancher and the University of Iowa, to the Stanley Foundation, to the Howe Foundation, the Community Foundation of Greater Muscatine, and to Deb and Keith Porter, their donor-advised fund. And then there's a large planning committee too. I don't know, Melanie, if you want to read off the names of the...
Well, there's so many, but many of the organizations that we talked about in the lineup as far as providing an activity, or but in addition, there's some that are maybe a little less visible. Rotary Club of Muscatine is providing some volunteers. First Presbyterian Church of Muscatine, Dick and Mary Jo's Church, they're providing some refreshments for the 1 to 3 activities. There's just so many of us. The Muscatine Symphony Guild, the Muscatine Symphony Orchestra Board, the city of Muscatine's been a huge partner with us in this. So, of course, working with Weed Park and Parks and Rec and the Muscabus providing the shuttle and the extra support from the police and all those pieces working together. So there's been a huge group of individuals and also people representing a big span of organizations.
And that there again just shows, Dick and Mary Jo. And what I love, Melanie, more than anything about this planning committee, you know most of the people, but I've been able to meet a lot of new people, and in everybody's kind of participation, in this is just exemplary of just shows Dick and Mary Jo through and through, their spirit. And every time we get together as a committee, we again share stories of Dick and Mary Jo, and we talk about how would have they wanted this done, and they're always first and foremost in our plans for this. And I just have had such joy in working with you and working with the entire committee, because it helps there again carry on that legacy, and it helps to just keep their spirit, just such a part of our hearts, which they always will be. But this has been a wonderful experience for me. It really has been.
Me too. I think for everybody on the committee, it's not often that this particular makeup of organizations works together on something, and it's been busy, and it hasn't. I mean, we just started talking about this. What was it, January, February? So to pull off something of this magnitude on a pretty short timeline, it's been a little intense, but really good.
But I'll tell you though, Melanie, it's interesting how things have come together beautifully, because first of all, when we made the call to Preservation Hall Jazz Band, I mean, they're busy, they tour, they go all over, really, the world.
Yeah, they're just wrapping up a whole European tour.
And I was concerned about the date, and it was open. I couldn't believe it. And then the Stanley family, we were hoping that they could come and be in attendance, and I think most of them are going to be in attendance. So things have worked out in a beautiful. And that's why I know the weather's going to be great, because I just know it will.
I'm sure it will. Well, one of the things that struck me is the idea of access. All of these activities, the super performance happening at 4:00 are available to the public. And I learned as I was getting to know Dick that he actually served on the original board of Eastern Iowa Community Colleges when it became part of EICC. So when Muscatine Junior College became part of EICC, he was on that original board. And of course, one of our main priorities is access to education. And so there's a puzzle piece, I think, that fits even between the college and that idea of access and all of these events that are open to everyone. So for people who may be new to the community, I know in the summer we host a lot of interns at some of our industries. They may not know the legacy of Mary Jo and Dick. How would you summarize that, and especially their impact on the arts and in Muscatine or in kind of this region?
I would say, first of all, they're obviously this focuses on Muscatine, the University of Iowa, but if anybody who I know would be citizens of the world, it would be Dick and Mary Jo Stanley. Their understanding and their desire for people just to get along and people to understand each other, people to communicate, and their just hunger for knowledge. Mary Jo in particular, we would have parties after a lot of the performances, and they would come. Some people tell me it's too far to drive from here to Iowa City for Hancher performances, but it was never too far for Dick and Mary Jo. They would come, more than almost anybody. And she would always hunger for those discussions with the artists. And what was interesting is that, you know, she had traveled the world. She knew the world. And the questions that she would ask, those artists would look at her like, I've never been asked that before. But her knowledge and her desire, her inquiry was just beyond anybody that I had ever met before. And then Dick, you know, the way he would look and the way he would just be just so happy with Mary Jo. Just their relationship together was exemplary too. I mean, they set the bar. They really taught me a lot about relationships and just about people. But I would never forget them coming into the lobby at Hancher, and the first thing Mary Jo would say is, I just love this building. You know, then she would say too, why is everybody so nice to us? You know, and I'd say, Mary Jo, it's because you're so nice to everybody else, you know. And they just exuded warmth and generosity not even just financially, but just with everybody. They treated everybody the same. Everybody was important to them.
Yeah, they did a lot of, you know, leading by example, even if they didn't think about it as far as that. Mary Jo was the chairperson for the Muscatine Art Center Support Foundation for 26 years. And so there's a lot of, you know, behind the scenes that people maybe didn't realize that they were involved and really deeply involved. So it wasn't just about having, you know, the wealth to provide financial support for an activity. They were truly invested and thought very strategically about what they were doing and how to really get, you know, just nudging organizations to be more. And you know, Mary Jo, with the time she put on that advisory committee, and then you know, Dick in the last year or two of his life was really involved with helping to transition those funds, and I mean, just the enthusiasm they had for, even if it was, you know, trying to figure out how to manage an asset in a way that there was real passion there, and they just, you know, they cared, and they thought very deeply about what they were doing.
And you know, Melanie, too, what I think too is they participated because people told me, you know, talking to people at their funeral and other occasions, you know, since years ago, and then for many years, chili suppers for the Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts, things that, you know, a lot of us just, you know, might give some money for but never go. I mean, they didn't miss any of those sorts of things. So their presence at certain events too. I was at an opening of my son-in-law's dental office, and here come Dick and Mary Jo Stanley, you know, and I just brought the biggest smile on everybody's face, you know, and to them it was just an event that they wanted to be there. They loved people, they really did, and they were there because they wanted to be there, you know. It wasn't because they felt they had to be there. They weren't representing anything. But as people, they just, you know, that was them. Yeah, very special, very unique individuals.
You talk about them as a pair.
Yes.
You know, so consistently.
It's hard to separate
You can't
them.
talk about one without the other. They built on each other. Yeah. I remember I saw Dick at a business after hours, I think, one day, and Mary Jo had just had some surgery done, and so she was having some physical therapy or something, and I just asked him how she was doing, and he just lit up and went into this explanation of the exercises that she's doing. She was being stubborn, and she really wasn't following the instructions, and he just continued, and you could see this bond that they shared so strongly.
Like I said, they set an example for all of us, setting the bar for all of us to really be better people, you know, in any way that we can, you know, and do the best we can for our community, our world, you know.
Yeah, and to do it in a way that connects with your interest. I mean, they were a little bit all over the place. So when we brought all these people together as part of a planning committee, you know, you've got world peace and and Hancher and the arts and MCSA and the church, and trying to figure out a way that, how do we come up with an event that ties it all together? Because maybe on the surface it all seems a little bit random, but that was, these were their interests. These were the things that they got behind and were involved in, and this, in a way, we're the tip of the iceberg too.
Right.
There were many other organizations
Right.
and activities they could have, could have gotten pulled into this,
Right.
but
Yeah.
this is sort of a sampling of day in the life of Dick and Mary Jo, maybe.
I'm really trying to think about this concert, and the events earlier in the day too, and I really hope that people will share their stories of Dick and Mary Jo. I think that'd be a great time for people to, amongst each other, and really even, we're thinking of a little activity too, that I think even people thinking about things that they can do. That would be, it doesn't have to be giving money or doing anything, but volunteering for something, going to the next chili supper or whatever.
Right.
And just kind of almost like, I don't know, what do we call it? It's not like giving up something for Lent, but it's making not a promise.
Well, we're asking people to pledge an hour to do something that is in the spirit of what Dick and Mary Jo would have done. So whether that's, ringing the bell for Salvation Army, or attending a symphony concert when you haven't been to the symphony before, or
for sure.
Any number of things. So
we've dedicated our Hancher season. This is our 46th season. We just announced it yesterday, and we've never done this in the history of Hancher, but we've dedicated the season to Dick and Mary Jo.
Wow.
And so appropriate. It just makes so much sense.
Yes.
And we're so proud of that.
Yes.
We are very, very proud of that. So there's a page in our playbill, with their picture and a little paragraph about follow the music.
Oh, yes.
So we hope a lot of people from Iowa City too will come, hoping people from the Quad Cities, people from, of course, Muscatine will be there, but, there again, we want to get the region. We want people to attend as much of that day as they possibly can.
Well, and you've got your charter bus coming from...
You bet, from Iowa City. Yep, we've got a bus of friends coming from Iowa City. There again, they had wherever they went, I'm sure they had, I know they had tons of friends in Iowa City and Muscatine.
Right.
But I think wherever Dick and Mary Jo were, they had friends, all around the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they worked, I think, to shorten these distances that we have. Just this morning, we had Dr. Jerry Anthony here from the University of Iowa, talking about his area of expertise, which is housing, and that's an area that has been kind of surfaced as an opportunity for Muscatine. So
perfect.
Dick would have been at that session, asking questions and making a plan of how to address those issues in Muscatine. You can see that too, can't you?
That goes back to that knowledge too. They both had a real thirst and hunger for knowledge. They're just trying to find out as much about everything as they possibly could, and that is a wonderful. That's just a wonderful thing to have, and it just continued and continued forever to, because Mary Jo, with those artists too, I would just always marvel at how she would, there again, ask some of the most interesting questions that they've never been asked before. And then the sparkle in her eye, and then the sparkle back in their eye, because she just generated that. And what I love too is you watching them too, and audiences and groups, and just like I said, they would treat everybody the same, and people were just, no matter who or what their background or what their work was or anything, they were friends, with Dick and Mary Jo, and that was just a lovely thing, it really was, because everybody felt so much a part of their life,
So Dick and Mary Jo Stanley were pillars of Muscatine. And so on May 20th, we have just a very special series of events that are planned called Follow the Music, beginning at 1 o'clock and ending really the culmination of a series of events with a performance in Weed Park by the Preservation Hall Jazz Band at 4 o'clock. All of this to continue the legacy of Dick and Mary Jo Stanley in Muscatine. And so you are all invited to join us at all of the events. I want to thank Chuck and Melanie for sharing the reason behind this series of events and the impact that the Stanleys continue to have on Muscatine and the greater region. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.